Speaking of football, speaking of rankings and killing giants, preseason poll has dropped. Top 25 is out. There are 4 teams from the Big 12, Colorado's conference, in the top 25. Highest ranking is Arizona State. They're at number 11. They come to Folsom Field mid-late November, if my memory serves me correct. But Colorado is not in the top 25, but certainly has a chance to get in there. Chico, how much as a player back in your days did you pay attention to the preseason rankings?
Well, not much because we weren't in there much. I think 1 or 2 years we were around 23, 25.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of goes to where Coach Prime said a couple years ago, "Dog, we're not worried about no rankings, especially at this point of the season. You know, that can give you something to shoot at or give you, some type of false thought about yourself. But at the end of the day, man, rankings don't mean anything. What they think of you preseason doesn't mean anything. We know what we have in this room. And like you said last night, there are so many transfers around the country, like 50% on each team. How do you really know what they're going to have and what they're going to come out with? So at the end of the day, it's all speculations and what they're thinking is going to happen. But us as the team, if we're not on that list, we don't care. Now we have a us against everybody mentality, which can bring us together a lot more and have us focus on one singular goal, and that is to have the best season we can. And wherever that ends up at on the preseason or on the final poll, then that's what it is. But we got to take care of business because we could be ranked number 1 and not take care of business. What are we going to be at the end of the season? So it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
I love that. I love that from a player perspective and from a coaching perspective. Even though I was coaching in high school, you see those preseason rankings, man, and you take it one way or the other. I prefer to be left off.
Mm,
I prefer to be underestimated. I prefer to be the underdog. I prefer to motivate my locker room with, hey, you see what they're saying about you. You see what they think about you.
exactly.
Prove them wrong. Prove you right, prove them wrong versus, coming out high in the polls and it really doesn't mean anything. But outside of that, outside of the mental aspect of it, you and I touched on it, Uncle Chico Live on Sunday night last night. Man, when you talk about 50+% of people hit the portal every year, around 53% in total, unless you're going into the deep analysis and saying which starting quarterbacks are coming back, which premier players on defense are actually coming back, what staff changes didn't take place. There's so many nuances now in college football. It's really hard to predict who's going to be what until you get about 2 or 3 weeks in and see what people really have.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. So that's where you can have your team galvanized together and say, man, listen, here's what they think about you.
Here's
What you
what they
gonna
think
do
about
about
you.
it? Here's
Here's
what
what
they
they
think
think
about
about you.
you. That's right.
Here's what they think about you. Here's what they think about you.
Ice
Ice
Cube.
Cube. Shout out to O'Shea Jackson when he went solo.
That's
Here's what
right.
they think about you.
That's right. Okay. He caught the
Yeah,
reference. All right.
Chico, you ain't finna get nothing over O'Neal now. This ain't Chuck Bishop you talking to. You ain't finna get. There ain't nothing going over my head.
Shout out to Ice Cube and the Big Three this weekend, man. Did their
Yeah.
thing. They were in LA in the Intuit Dome, should I say Inglewood. And they're playing in NBA arenas and stepping it up. Had Cedric the Entertainer and Anthony Anderson there doing the co-hosting. So I'm liking what Cube is doing, man. So I thought about this last night. I said, man, we need to start implementing. I know it's getting into the end, but maybe a Big Three segment just to shout out Ice Cube and the
Let's
Big
do
Three
it.
and
I
what
love
he's
it.
doing, dog.
I'd
You
love it.
know,
Well, yeah,
no
well, let's do it.
Vaseline.
Let's no Vaseline and no Diddy, no pause in there, all that. And Chico, when you had Anthony Anderson and Sid the Entertainer, both of which who've been on the Pregame Network, we get to
Mhm.
have Ice Cube on. You had a barbershop reunion right there.
Yeah, we did. They
Yeah.
talked about that too. Calvin said, "Hey, Calvin can break out the Clippers and give a lineup anytime." And
Yeah.
Cedric is right there with it. So you might see another barbershop coming soon. So shout out to them, and maybe we'll see Ice Cube on the morning run. I'll
Let's
let
work on
you know.
that, man. Tell you what
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
here, standing here at Folsom Field, we had a scrimmage this past Saturday,
That's right.
finished up practice this morning already down on the lower fields. Chico, that brings us to 14 practices remaining before
Mm,
Georgia Tech comes to this very field on Friday night for Labor Day weekend. 14 practices remaining. And the other part you got to put into that is you're about 10 days or so away, less than for classes to start. So you no longer have full-time football taking place. So what does
mhm.
all that mean, Uncle D? Let me tell you what that means, Chico. And you know it as a player, you did that at UAB. Week 3 and fall camp, which we're now in, is like the most important week. It's the last week that you just totally in camp, because next week is going to be part of camp, part of school.
Yep.
And then after that is literally game week. This is the week that you got to decide, okay, who I trust, who I don't trust, what we're going to do install-wise. Like, we got to move forward totally for Georgia Tech. This is the week. Ain't no, man, woulda, coulda, shoulda, idas. You come out of this week, these are people we can count on, these are people we can trust. We're going to spend these last 2 weeks focusing these guys on Georgia Tech.
Right. And like you said, there's a lot of installing going on this week. And there's a lot of depth chart movement and reps going on. And so at this point, like you said, right before school starts back, this is full football. So you need to get everything you can get in, solidify your spots, whatever that is. If there's competitions going on with your position, you need to find a way to separate yourself now. Because once school starts back and that time gets pretty much cut in half, the coach is going to have less time to evaluate, and they're going to be doing more up here work, installing. Here's the game plan. This is what we need to do. You need to understand this play. This is the rep chart, as Coach Sapp would say. This is how we're going to rotate these things. A lot of sideline stuff. You're going to have to get right that final week. Who's going to be the backup coach? You know what I'm saying? Little things like that. We can't have a situation like we saw CeeDee Lamb on the sideline with the Dallas Cowboys, and he's on the white, and then the referee runs into him. That's embarrassing, and that's a penalty. And it should never happen. So things like that, we got to make sure.
That white right? Yeah, see that white right there?
Right.
That's the referee's office. You gotta stay out of that when the ball is coming towards you. Now you can be in that white, the ball going the other direction, but the ball is coming this way. You got to be out of there, because the refs are typically backpedaling.
Right.
So they need that space to operate, as they call it. And then even if the ball is going the other way, you still got to stay aware, because it'll be a turnover, and it just shifts that quick. The best thing to do, stay your ass in the green on this side, not in the white, because you don't want to be that guy.
Don't joke.
You don't want to be that guy.
I know that was very embarrassing for CD. So we don't want to have a situation like that on the sidelines either.
Even when Mike Tomlin did it, he did it intentionally. I don't care what he said. He claimed he was watching the Jumbotron, but the guy was running one back, and he got his way.
He shoulder checked him.
Talk about, on the screen, stuff opposite. I was trying to lean that way and lean. Okay, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Good stuff right there, Coach Tomlin.
But I thought we had a very productive scrimmage on Saturday. Went through those grades this morning. A lot of 4s. 5 is just absolutely perfect. 4 is above average. 3 is average. 2 is below average. 1, we just can't do a damn thing with you. And so a lot of 4s amongst that defensive line, and the edge rushers from the scrimmage this weekend. They did the damn thing and stopping the run. Spirited practice this morning, a shorter practice, and ramping up to get into the rest of the week. But Chico, after this morning's practice, like I said, only 14 left to go. Per the regs and rules. And man, it's one thing you don't have, man, is time. Like, it will be Friday night, August 29th, before you know it.
Where y'all from?
We up from Miami, Florida.
We're from Miami.
All the way from Miami.
Appreciate y'all coming, man.
Hey, man, we love what you guys are doing, man. We want to support you in every way.
Appreciate your family.
And we're recruiting at home. Everything we see at home, we bring it this way.
My man.
Thank you.
You gotta believe. Dude, we've been believing since day one,
That's
dog.
why I gave them to
Remember
you.
back in Jackson State? We've been believing with you in the pregame show.